Hello, good to have your company this Wednesday evening. Here's what's coming up on the programme tonight. The rising number of domestic violence orders being breached. Victims of abuse say they are being let down.
I've no support from anywhere, and there's no understanding from police either. When I ring up, it takes them days to get back to me, or weeks.
A charity tells us women are reporting breaches of orders, but still nothing happens. Also tonight, as the government announces help for schools and businesses with the rising cost of energy, our political editor speaks to the new Education Secretary.
So schools should hope for the best then, is that the message?
Always hope for the best.
The DIY SOS team get cracking to help out a charity in Leeds. And Jim Moyer, aka Vic Reeves, brings his amazing artwork to Harrogate.
Some sunshine to come for a time tomorrow morning, but changes afoot, rain on the way. Join me for the very latest.
Good evening. We're going to start tonight with a story which may be difficult for you to listen to, but affects so many people. We're talking about domestic violence and the powers given to police and the courts to stop it. Now, one thing that they can do is issue domestic violence protection orders or non-molestation orders or even a restraining order. The idea is to intervene with offenders to stop the abuse getting worse. They can prevent an abuser returning to a house or having contact with someone. But victims have told us that these orders aren't being taken seriously by the police. Now, it's a criminal offence to breach some of these orders, but according to figures we've uncovered, in the last few years, a fifth of DVPOs are being broken. But at the same time, the number of sentences for offenders breaching some of these orders has dropped by almost a fifth. Pretty Mystery has this exclusive story about the effect it's having on people being abused and the calls for tougher measures to tackle offenders. You might find some of the details of the abuse disturbing.
I had a miscarriage and then lost the baby. Had 6 blood transfusions over 2 days as a result of violence he inflicted on me.
Victoria, not her real name, is from Yorkshire. She's had 3 non-molestation orders issued against her ex-husband. But she says he breached every one of them. Her words are spoken by an actor.
I had to uproot my life and move. I shouldn't have to do that. I should be protected. There's been no support from any professionals, and the police didn't take the order seriously.
Not worth paper they're written on. There's no deterrent at all for a perpetrator to breach them numerous times, over and over again.
Last year, Deborah Jones set up a support group in Barnsley to help victims of domestic violence, including this woman, who we're calling Kath.
I've no support from anywhere, and there's no understanding from police either. When I ring up, it takes them days to get back to me, or weeks.
She's had a non-molestation order in place since December after she left her husband following 9 years of physical and coercive abuse.
It's a constant fear and high anxiety all the time. I can't have windows open in the house. It's not a life, it's just an existence.
The Independent Domestic Abuse Services, based in York, led a review in 2018 which found the way authorities worked left significant safeguarding black holes.
In the first 6 to 12 months after somebody leaves a relationship, that can be when the most domestic homicides happen. And I think traditionally we think, well, once they leave the relationship, they'll be safe. Whereas actually what happens is that risk can elevate as the perpetrator begins to lose control. So we need everybody to have a really detailed understanding of that and act urgently on breaches.
Recent data shows about a fifth of the domestic violence protection orders issued by courts have been breached in Yorkshire every financial year between 2019 and 2021. That's despite the numbers granted rising by about a quarter in the same period. There's also been a 17% drop in sentences for breaching restraining orders between 2019 and 2021.
The National Police Chiefs Council say there needs to be improvements right across the board, but accept that they need to do better.
I am so sorry that they have not had the service they should expect and deserve from policing so far, but we are working on this. This is a huge priority for policing, and we are really clear that we expect officers to take positive action.
But for Deborah, she wants action, not apologies.
Things need to change. There needs to be tougher consequences. If an order is breached, perpetrators should be tagged. Surely when women are enduring violence and being murdered, it should, for me, be on as high a risk as terrorism.
Pretty Mystery, BBC Look North, Barnsley.
Let's hear now from Noga Offer. She's from the Centre for Women's Justice, an organisation that challenged discrimination in the justice system around male violence against women and girls. Earlier I asked her if she was reassured by the police apology that we just heard there.
Well, what we've been hearing consistently from domestic abuse support organisations around the country is that when women report breaches of protection orders, particularly non-molestation orders, the police don't respond very swiftly and sometimes don't respond at all. And one of the things that we're really concerned about is that we made a super complaint which recommended that police need a lot more training on protection orders. But the NPCC reply to that was to say that the police are doing a set of training called DA Matters. But unfortunately, we know that DA Matters doesn't actually include protection orders. So we're really concerned that there isn't actually action been taken to improve.
You're saying
the situation.
despite that super complaint that you've put in, nothing's changed to help these women?
Well, it remains a really serious problem, and we've seen that the numbers of prosecutions for breaches has been going down. But we're also hearing that the problem of women reporting breaches and then seeing nothing happening as a result is still a major problem. And we haven't seen anything concrete that's been done or reported by the NPCC to change that.
It sounds like domestic violence against women isn't being taken seriously enough. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, there's lots of sort of general statements about how it is a high priority, but the problem is that it doesn't seem to be a priority on the ground. When women report, quite often police officers see it as a trivial matter, particularly around breaches, or there are not the resources to respond adequately. So it's whether those sort of general statements are actually put into practice.
What would you like to see happen so that women do feel safe?
Well, first of all, we want all police officers who work on the front line and come into contact with survivors of domestic abuse to have basic training about what the different protection orders are and what they should do when they're breached. And we don't think that is happening at the moment. We also want the courts to communicate orders directly to the police, because a lot of the time the family courts grant the orders, but the police don't know about them. And so women have to sort of carry paper orders around to be able to show to police officers. So we need a system that actually sort of efficiently responds to the way these orders are supposed to work.
Noga Offer from the Centre for Women's Justice, thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
We have some breaking news to bring you now. A 15-year-old boy is in a critical condition in hospital after an incident near a school in Huddersfield. Emergency services were called to Woodhouse Hill this afternoon after reports that a teenager had been seriously injured in an assault. West Yorkshire Police say inquiries are underway to establish the circumstances. We'll have more on that tonight in our late news at 10:30. Next tonight, you may have noticed, politics is back. Here to guide us through the Westminster whirlwind is our political editor, James Vincent. James, everything seemed to have stopped for a while, but now we're back on track. What's happening this week?
Yeah, it's going to be a bit of a week. We've got sort of three big things. Today, we've got the news of help for businesses on the energy crisis. We'll talk a bit more about that in a second. Tomorrow, we're going to hear what the government wants to do to help the NHS. We'll also hear a little bit on fracking. Friday is the mini budget, or if you're Westminster-minded with your language, the fiscal event. And it's all being crammed into this week because they're all off to conference for the next couple of weeks. So that's why it's all happening this week. But help for the businesses today. The government is saying that the cap that they're introducing for businesses will help them halve their payments on energy. We spoke to the Fawcett's who make malt in Castleford about exactly what they spend on their energy bills.
In 2021, our energy bill to run this small business was £740,000, and the latest quote would mean next year I'd have to pay just over £5 million for my energy.
Are you a worried man?
Extremely, extremely. We will have to try and pass those costs on to our customers, and that has a flow-through effect to the price of a pint of beer. And it does mean life could become very, very difficult for us.
James Fawcett's still concerned there about the price hikes, but of course this support isn't just for businesses, is it?
No, it's for businesses, it's for schools, it's for public sector bodies, and what it does is it caps the amount that they'll be paying. So as I say, they should be paying about half of what they expected to be paying on the rising cost of energy, but it's for 6 months, and businesses and schools, for example, don't plan for just 6 months. This doesn't take schools to the end of their academic year, of course. Now, you might remember when Liz Truss became the new Conservative leader, we spoke to Mungo, he's a head teacher in Halifax, and he told us the struggles they were having at their school.
If school budgets aren't going to change and the cost of energy is going to go up, then money is going to come out of staffing. There is no other way. Children are coming to school from households that might be struggling to, pay bills, afford food and afford heating. Now that's going to get an awful lot worse. So we've got a responsibility for those children to look after them. So the budget that we'd set is no longer really worth the paper that it was written on.
It's a big worry for lots of schools, isn't it? Today we've had a ministerial visit. Have they said anything that might reassure teachers like Mungo?
Well, yeah, we've spoken to Mungo, we've spoken to James. They're the ones that are they've set out what they need to happen, what they want the government to say. And we had the Education Secretary in York today, his first visit as Education Secretary. And I asked him, and I basically sort of showed him what Mungo was saying and said, what are you going to do about it? We spoke to somebody a couple of weeks ago who said they were literally choosing between heating their school and teaching, and they might have to make staff cuts. What would you say to that head teacher in Halifax that says, I'm not sure whether I can keep the same amount of staff on?
So I can understand the anxiety looking forward to a winter. We don't know how hard or how cold it's going to be. And head teachers naturally have to think about those budgetary pressures. So I totally understand them planning for the worst, but they had to hope for the best. And happily, that's what's happened today. They're going to be in this capping scheme. They will get assistance with their gas bills and also with their oil bills if they're a rural school. And as that scheme rolls out, we'll have to monitor carefully the impact on schools and talk to head teachers about how we can help each other, both in terms of, as I say, getting this funding out, but also what schools can sensibly do to conserve energy and bring their bills down generally, which will not just be good for this winter, but good for the future too.
So schools should hope for the best then, is that the message?
Always hope for the best.
Always hope for the best. What will Mungo make of that?
Yeah, exactly. So we've heard what they want, we've heard what the government's providing, so what do they think about the government's doing about it? Cue Mungo.
Hope for the best is not necessarily the most reassuring mantra, is it? Although I'm sure we are all doing that at the moment. Fantastic having some help for 6 months. It's help, isn't it? But it's for a very short term. It still leaves us with an awful lot of uncertainty. Every resource in school at the moment, be that food or paper, fuel, anything like that, is going up. And of course, that's not going to change for schools. I think anybody looking at this can see that there's an awful long way to go. Schools are underfunded. And whilst this is a welcome little bit of help that has been announced, we need an awful lot more, and we need a lot more dialogue.
James, you're going to be here all week,
yep,
helping us wade through all the political jargon that comes out.
Yep.
Thank you for that. And we need your help tomorrow because we're going to focus on the NHS, and we're expecting to hear from the new Health Secretary, Therese Coffey. We want to know about the future of the health service. What was your experience trying to get an appointment to see a GP or a dentist? Have you had to wait for an ambulance, or are you facing delays trying to get treatment? Get in touch with us. Maybe you've got some questions that you want to put to our politicians. Here's how you do it. look.north@bbc.co.uk, or you can put your message on Facebook. Just search for BBC Yorkshire, get your voice heard, and we'll put it across to the politicians. Next tonight, police have confirmed that a murder investigation has been launched following the death of a 10-year-old boy in Leeds. Officers were called to a flat on Cross Ingham Road in Holbeck last Thursday, where the bodies of a 30-year-old woman and her 10-year-old son were discovered. Police say inquiries are ongoing into the deaths and that they're not looking for anyone else in connection with the incident. A driving instructor who stalked a student from York University has been jailed for 20 months. 53-year-old Graham Mancy from Beckenham in Kent was sentenced at York Crown Court this morning for breaching a restraining order and being in possession of a knife blade. He travelled over 200 miles from London to York, where his former student Macy Relf was studying. Next tonight, a new treatment service has launched in South Yorkshire, which aims to give people diagnosed with cancer the best chance of overcoming the disease. It's called Active Together, and it tailors an exercise and nutrition programme for each patient, along with psychological support as well. The project is being funded by the charity Yorkshire Cancer Research and will benefit 1,000 people a year who are given a cancer diagnosis. Here's Mark Ansell.
OK, Peter, so we'll head to the bike first. Just do a nice light warm-up.
Exercise has been key to Peter's esophagus cancer recovery, from diagnosis last November to being in remission now. He was part of the Active Together pilot project, where people who are diagnosed with cancer are given an exercise and nutrition programme and psychological support.
It builds you up mentally and physically stronger to face what's coming to you in the future. It's been a godsend because, like I say, it's mentally helped me through the difficult times I had, through being sick and no energy. But it was something to look forward to and really help me keep focused on getting better through cancer.
At the Advanced Wellbeing Research Centre in Sheffield today, it was announced that the project is being expanded to 1,000 cancer patients a year in South Yorkshire.
Preparing for your cancer treatment is a bit like running a marathon. You need to be physiologically fit so you can tolerate the anaesthetic and the surgery, for example. You need to be nutritionally ready and also psychologically ready, have the support systems in place so that you can give it the best shot that you can when that day comes for your surgery.
The charity Yorkshire Cancer Research is providing £2 million to fund the service.
In history, patients will have been told to rest, relax, take it easy, but actually being active is probably the most significant health benefit you can give yourself, that you're in charge of, because exercise can really significantly reduce those chances of a cancer coming back.
4 more reps for me.
Yorkshire Cancer Research hopes the programme, which started in Sheffield, will be used throughout the country, so all cancer patients can be in the best shape possible to recover from the disease. Mark Ansell, BBC Look North, Attercliffe in Sheffield.
Yeah, let's hope it helps. Right, get your screwdrivers ready, because BBC programme DIY SOS is in West Yorkshire. They're undertaking a mammoth project to transform a new headquarters for Women Refuge charity. With the help of local tradespeople, Nick Knowles and his team have just 9 days to help Getaway Girls in Seacroft for a Children in Need special. Heidi put on a hard hat to lend a hand.
A bustling building site full of can-do, kind people. The DIY SOS team is in Seacroft, creating a base for Leeds charity Getaway Girls, which helps young women learn new skills, increase confidence and resilience.
This building is a fantastic opportunity for Getaway Girls. You know, we were in a building for many years, which we've outgrown over the years.
Well, I don't want to show you too much because the big reveal is next week, but just to let you know that 8 days ago, there was nothing on this site, and now it's a purpose-built centre with hundreds of tradespeople turning up every day, working hard, determined to make it happen.
And everyone here works for free. Most have a reason for doing so. Take driver Tom Barr from Sheffield. He grew up in care and wanted to be involved with a charity.
It's very difficult in these times when people are struggling to pay bills and struggling to afford things, to take time off work unpaid, but you've done that.
You save your money and you just crack on, you know what I mean? You take the 2 weeks off or whatever it is and do that rather than having a holiday, so it's giving something back.
A year ago, joiner Elliot Wickham-Baker from Halifax was homeless, addicted to drink and drugs. Life has turned around. Today, he's donating time and skills to help others.
The biggest prison to escape from was my own mind, you know, just constantly the voices that I struggled with, you know. Just I couldn't get out of my own head, basically, which were really difficult. And then I found a treatment centre in Castleford, called Reflections House. And, you know, that were a place, you know, a place of hope, a safe place, you know, just a positive place to be in, just like what we're doing here today for the Getaway Girls.
And for any family, no matter how well your life is going,
you are only an accident or a moment away from your family, your children, needing that kind of service. So, you know, if it's not going to be built by anybody else, then the community will get together and build it.
Even the materials are supplied free of charge despite escalating costs. Block by block, this team's creating a better future for young women who need a helping hand to get started in life. Heidi Tomlinson, BBC Look North, Leeds.
What a fantastic job they're doing. Well, I tell you, it's a star-studded programme tonight. Let me transport you back to the 90s. Comedy duo Vic Reeves and Bob Mortimer fronted BBC show Shooting Stars, not to mention Big Night Out for Channel 4. Now, if you were a fan, do you remember the catchphrase, "What's on the end of the stick, Vic?" Well, apparently it's a paintbrush for Jim Moyer, a.k.a. Vic. He is now a prolific artist, and some of his latest work, this is some of it here, is being displayed in Harrogate this evening. Corinne is live with us from there. Corinne, I'm very jealous because I'm a massive fan.
Oh, absolutely, Amy. Yes, well, you take a look at this bright, bold bullfinch. It is sets the tone, I think, for this exhibition of artwork by Jim Moyer. As you say, the artist, perhaps better known to TV audiences over the years as comedian Vic Reeves, but these days, the character Vic takes the backseat as Jim Moyer explores his first passion, which is his birds are a big theme in his work, but so now too is the Yorkshire landscape, and this is a slightly surreal depiction of Brimham Rocks. Now, the exhibition is titled Yorkshire Rocks and Dinghy Fights. I caught up with Jim earlier to ask him about the unusual name.
My son is a film director, and he was making a film about comedy and art, and it was his suggestion. He said, "Why don't you go to Brimham Rocks?" Because we used to go there when he was little. Some of the paintings that I did there look kind of like the Marshmallow Man from Ghostbusters. So anyway, I did that, and I thought I really liked those Brimham Rocks, so I'm going to do some more. So that's the Yorkshire Rocks element. The Dinghy Fights is quite a recent thing. I was watching a film, what I do in my spare time is watch old British movies from the early 60s, and I saw a really good fight. So I took some photographs from the TV, and I thought, that's a fight in a room, but what would a fight look like on a dinghy? So I just transferred it to a dinghy, and I enjoyed doing it, so I did a load more.
There's so much variety in the style. It almost could be the work of perhaps 2 or 3 different artists, and it's really distinctive. How long did it take you to find that distinctive style that's yours?
I don't think I've ever found my distinctive style. I think I paint the way I feel, and if I'm in a mood or I've been influenced by someone else, I'll paint in that style, or just sort of like, wake up and think I want to do that painting today. So I don't think there's any. I think you can paint in an eclectic way without having to stick to one style, because that becomes a bit restrictive, and I like to expand.
Well, let's chat now to the gallery director here, Richard McTague. Richard, this must feel like a real coup for you. You've got his first exhibition in Yorkshire. How does it feel to open up tomorrow?
It's very exciting. Yeah, it's as you mentioned, the first time in Yorkshire, and to have so many paintings under one roof, you get a real sense of the artist and the man behind the paintbrush, and we're thrilled.
And Jim Moyer has quite a lot of well-known supporters, doesn't he? Quite a lot of well-known fans, is that right?
Yeah, that's right. So he's been known for many years and highly regarded by artists like Grayson Perry, Sir Peter Blake have written about Jim's work and supported him for a number of years. So we're delighted to be part of the experience and able to share the work with the people of Yorkshire.
Fantastic, and it opens up tomorrow, is that right? Yeah.
It does, yeah. We've had a great response already, but the first day is tomorrow, runs until October the 8th.
Great stuff. Thank you very much, Richard. Well, at this special preview event tonight, there are about 100 people, lots of very keen interest. They had a waiting list for tonight's event, in fact. So it opens up tomorrow. It's free to come and have a look round, and it's on until the 8th of October. And if you like the look of Jim Moyer's Yorkshire landscapes, he did tell me earlier that he's got plenty more in store where that's come from, and he wants to return to Brimham Rocks to do plenty more paintings there as well.
Jim, I'm glad to hear it. Corinne, thank you very much. I love his stuff. I think he's brilliant. He makes me really belly laugh.
I feel really stupid. I had no idea his real name wasn't Vic Reeves.
Come on, you must have watched Vic and Bob.
Well, yeah, but...
Even my kids know a few catchphrases.
I've learned something tonight.
Tommy Squeaker? Have you done a Tommy Squeaker?
No, definitely not. Shall we stick with the weather pictures, actually, because they're very, very nice. That's the sort of thing that Amy would do paddleboarding down the River Yeo there in Massam. A lovely morning there with plenty of sunshine around, and the second picture was first thing this morning. A little bit of mist and patchy fog there in the bottom of the Aire Valley. A beautiful sky as well. Thanks for sending that in. If you want to get your pictures on the TV, the addresses are on your screen right now on Twitter, Instagram and the Weather Watcher website. So it looks as though we're entering a more changeable type of weather in the next few days, with some rain in the forecast later tomorrow, but certainly tomorrow morning looks nice. A bright start. There will be some rain later, courtesy of this weather front that will push its rain in from the northwest. Behind it, cooler. Friday in general looks bright with some sunshine once that rain clears out of the way. The weekend looks bright and breezy, a little cooler, sunshine, just 1 or 2 showers, but I think autumn is on its way as we head into next week. So still quite a lot of cloud around, despite the fact we've had temperatures of 19 degrees. So as we head through this evening and overnight, we'll see that cloud being pushed out of the way by a moderate southwest breeze, all parts dry. Could be a little bit of patchy fog just like this morning, and we'll see lowest temperatures around 10 degrees Celsius. So a lovely day along the coast tomorrow. High water times in Filey at 2:55, Bridlington at 3:10. So a dry, bright start, plenty of sunshine around, but clouds will increase in the west. There'll be some rain onto the Pennines early afternoon. That's going to struggle to get eastwards, but I think certainly North Yorkshire seeing some patchy rain away from the Pennines, as we will in South Yorkshire as well. But areas to the east will stay dry until after dark, and we're going to see temperatures reaching 18 or 19. 19 in Doncaster is 66 degrees Fahrenheit. Looking a bit further ahead then, Friday, any overnight rain soon clearing, then it's dry and bright with some sunshine. 1 or 2 showers on Saturday. Look at that drop off in temperatures. The main thing next week, it turns cooler, much cooler. 13 the high on Tuesday, windy with showers or longer spells of rain. That's the forecast.
I'm going to have to educate you on some Vic and Bob, aren't I?
I think you're probably going to have to do, yes.
Watch a box set
Indeed.
of it. You might still not get it, it's very random. Anyway, that's it from us. Thanks, Paul. Ian White is here with your late news this evening. Hope you can join in then. Bye-bye.